This is WLWT News 5, leading the way with breaking news.
And that breaking news coming in tonight from Louisville. Just moments ago, the National Transportation Safety Board wrapped up a news conference with new information on that deadly plane crash. Thanks for joining us here at 4 o'clock. I'm Cherie Pilello.
And I'm Ashley Kirkland. They say today was their first full day on the investigation into that crash that killed at least 12 people. 9 others are still missing tonight. And WLWT News 5 anchor Chris Jacobs joining us now with the details they're gathering. Chris, you've been down there since this happened.
Yeah, and right now we're getting more of a clear picture of what happened. So with this most recent news conference that happened in the last hour, we're getting some updated numbers and a clearer picture. A lot of this information coming from the flight data recorder, or the black box that has been recovered. The information on it was successfully downloaded even after suffering heat damage from the fire and the explosion. We learned the plane was able to get off the ground during takeoff, getting to an elevation of about 475 feet and a speed of 210 miles per hour. Now, yesterday, the NTSB did a FOD walk. FOD is short for foreign object debris. Investigators found pieces of the engine along the runway. We showed you last night that engine getting taken away. The evidence has been taken to an undisclosed location. Some of it's already been taken back to D.C. NTSB spokesman Todd Inman saying this has been an all-hands-on-deck operation.
Right now, the NTSB team is over 30 individuals. We brought in additional vehicle performance specialist and a materials engineer. And of course, they are being supported by dozens of individuals in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere in the country. We have no issue bringing any resource that we need to make sure we have the right people in place while we are on the ground here.
So the NTSB's investigation in Louisville will last until about Wednesday. They'll collect all the evidence and witness testimony in that time and take the rest of the evidence back to D.C. The rest of the investigation could take as long as a year. Chris Jacobs, WLWT News 5.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. And recovery at the site of that crash will take time, as Chris said. But what happened, of course, will live with the families of the victims forever.
It's really unimaginable. We've been talking about it, of course, for the last few days. They are still trying to grasp what has happened in their community. And WLWT News 5's Brian Hamrick is live for us tonight in Louisville, talking with some of those witnesses and families. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, Cherie, well, we're on the south side of the airport. This whole area is completely shut down here. I want you to take a look. Police have a checkpoint set up over here. That's what they're doing. So this entire road is closed down. Now, there's a large industrial park right up there. It's just outside the crash zone. Some businesses are still operating today, but everyone in and out has to check in here. We caught up with one employee who was so close when this plane crashed, he caught the flames on his cell phone.
It was scary.
That had to be a little unnerving.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And especially when I learned how big it was and how far it came from the airport to us, it was crazy. I don't think our staff really understands how close that plane was.
You were in shock at first.
Yes. If it would have went a couple more feet off the ground, it would definitely would. We would have been one of the businesses on the news.
Yeah, that was Javon Webb. He was among those evacuated after the explosion. The crash was captured on his camera and multiple other ones. The industrial park, it was right in the path of the crash. The crash came to a stop before it got into some of those businesses. But this city is so tied to UPS. Tens of thousands of employees there. It's a major hub. Everyone is affected in some way. I talked to some people who say if you're family doesn't work there, you know someone who does. I caught up with the mayor one-on-one today. He's been talking with the families of these victims and those missing.
What are you hearing from some of these families of these victims?
The families, when I first was with them, many of them were in shock. All of them are seeking information. You know, by this point, they know if somebody's missing, they know what the likely answer is, but getting confirmation is going to be really important to them.
Yeah, now it's kind of hard to imagine the size of this explosion, but put it into this perspective. Remember, the planes hit the Twin Towers in New York City. Each of those planes were carrying about 10,000 gallons of fuel. This plane, it was headed to Honolulu, to Hawaii. It was carrying 38,000 gallons of fuel. So this was a very large explosion. Reporting live, Brian Hemrick, WLWT News 5.
Brian, thank you. And the tragedy continues to grow in Louisville as Brian and Chris